kind of a series of actions related to the arms, and their function in various postures. And my sort of feeling is if you can understand the why, then you can transfer these actions into all of the poses and understand what the function of the arms, what the availability of the function of the arms is. What I sort of am finding these days is that their main job is their effect on the spine, and most specifically the effect on the thoracic part of the spine, which I think is kind of an interesting area to look at these days, because it's an area where we tend to close off emotionally, and as a result our breathing starts to suffer, and we sort of go into a place of real dullness in this sort of part of our body. So the arms are actually available to lift us out of this place. On a very simple level, when we take our arms over our head, and again, it's just carrying on from what we did last time. Take the arms over the head, and all we do is lift the arms. There's no effect on the spine at all. I can lift my arms all I want. Unless my shoulder blade is engaging in the back of my body, my thoracic spine has no information, and my spine has no extension. So, and unless I'm doing that, then I have to ask the question, why am I having my arms up anyway? If they're not really giving me the purpose and their function. In terms of twists, is that really we want to complete the movement of energy along our spine. So if we cut our twist off at the point of the bind, and the thoracic spine doesn't engage and the sternum doesn't lift, and energetically we're just stuck in this part of our body, and we lose the energy and the ability to take it up through our spine. So this is what I sort of feel is the role of the arms and the shoulder blades in a lot of poses. And so once we're able to establish that, then then we start to go through all the different poses and explore this effect and see if it actually serves us in this kind of way, because I feel that it does and it will. So the first thing that we're going to do is arm actions over the head. And so again, this is another kind of continuing theme. There's a movement, and there's an action. And an action is really the movement of the muscle to the bone. And it's kind of a hard sell, because I can hold my arm over my head and I don't really have to do anything. And I can feel quite confident I'm doing what everybody else in the room is doing. And the difference between what I'm doing holding my arms over my head and what somebody else might be doing in terms of energizing their spine with the actions of their arms, it's kind of a very subtle difference. So it's sort of what I mean by a hard sell. And you put your arms over your head, and because you don't actually really have to do that much work, then we don't. And why would we? So part of what we'll be doing is finding ways in which we can actually feel the effect of this and carry it in. And so hopefully this will also help us to sort of liberate these actions, so that when we take our arms up, it's a really full embracing and empowering movement, and not this like struggle. We don't need any more struggle. When it comes to yoga, we need liberation, and that's sort of essentially what we're looking for. And so these actions should help liberate the heart center emotionally, free the breathing, and then continue our sort of evolutionary experience. So I'm going to do a very simple action, but the reason why I like to do this is because when we have to work against gravity and work against the weight of our arms, we actually have to do something. So we're going to lie down, stretch the arms over the head. And we'll just start with the hands, palms up. And so the first thing that we want to try and do is feel what straightens the arm. So the tricep counters the bicep, and it needs to move firmly towards the bone, otherwise the arm isn't straight. So on the one hand, you can feel that the shoulder blades are drawing, in a sense, down, but the main action here is the movement of the shoulder blade towards the back. And this is where the thoracic spine receives its information from. So the shoulder blades need to connect to the back, which is down, but also moving into the back of the body. And then we want to use that action to lengthen the spine and carry the spine further into extension. And then feeling the stabilizing actions of the inner thighs towards the floor. You can feel the connection between the front pelvic bones and the front ribs and the energy moving towards the navel. Again, with the arms up, just try and broaden your collarbones. You want to preserve that space beside the neck. And I always find that this relatively simple action, but as I start to increase my breath count here, 20 and 30 breaths, I feel like I'm doing as much work as I've been doing to hold this as if I was doing a handstand. And then depending on the hand position, palms up, palms flexed. Once we move into that territory, then we're into Urdhva Dhanurasana action, so back bend. But also again, palms up means handstand. Yeah, let's just bring the arms down by the sides for a moment. So we're going to kind of carry this into one more place, which is taking our gaze and looking up with our arms over our head and the energy of the thoracic spine engaging. So you just want to watch for a moment. We're going to add in, I'm going to go to the back end of our practice now and find Matsyasana, which is a really good pose for having the head back and holding energy strong in the spine. So I'm going to go to the back of the crown of the head. I'm going to feel the connection between the chin and the chest, but ultimately, once again, unless I'm accessing my thoracic spine, I'm really just not getting full benefit of this pose. So as the thoracic spine starts to engage, then the upper chest opens. And then I'm going to add back in with the arm piece. Take the arms up, bring the hands together at this point, take the gaze towards the thumbs, keeping the inner thighs down, keeping the connection towards the core. And then now you can see the resemblance between that pose, and I find if you really feel this, every time your arm goes up, your head goes up in its gaze, we'll go into Matsyasana in the upper spine, which means the thoracic spine is moving into the back body, the front ribs are anchored, the arms are carrying the back into extension, but we're not collapsing the back of the neck, because after we get to, energetically, we get to the mid part of the spine, once we get to the neck, with the vertebrae in the back of the neck collapsing like this, it's a more subtle form of this, but it's almost like somebody's strangling us. So if we don't work to extend through these vertebrae, if they actually compress as the head falls back, once again, it's like, well, you might as well just take my head off. I'm not really energetically completing the movement to the crown of the head, So here we are, doing our best, holding our shoulders down, taking our head back, and it's like, from here up, just take it away. It's not, because we're, in a sense, energetically, that's what's happening. It's like it's the part of the field that's not getting the water and irrigation. No irrigation, so no plant life grows. Okay, so let's come back into our backs again. As we press into the back of the head, actually use that action. We can feel the thoracic part of the spine moving back. We can feel the shoulder blades moving back. So once again, they're available to create whatever extension they can in the spine. And then energetically, we actually feel connected from the base of the spine to the crown of the head. And the arms are supporting that action. When we're able to complete an action and deepen it, then we should also be able to hold our poses longer too. And we'll take the arms to the sides, press the elbows, inhaling with the head and exhaling, just release. Just take a few moments here to bring the thighs and the chest.